Yo. What's up? What's cracking? What's cracking, my dudes? What's up, Natalie? What's up, Laura? Hey, thanks, Lacey, for joining. I appreciate that. Very nice of you. Yo, what's up, Emma? What's up, Morgan? What's up, Danny? What's up, Summer? Emily? Claudia with a K. Very nice. Deza? Laura? Natalie? Jossie? The music is 80s personified. That's the goal. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Ellen? Tofu Destroyer, what's cracking? My Monday's going well. The music is popping. We changed it up, you know? What do you guys think? I got green in the background now. Took down the Halloween decorations. Sadly, Mr. Calorie Deficit had to take some time off from hanging on the wall. I got to watch my first Twitch stream yesterday. Very nice. John, I want a shirt, but it's like 50 USD international shipping. Any cheaper option possible? Sadly, no. I wish there was. Trust me, I really do wish there was, but there isn't. Mr. Cal is taking a year-long refeed. Well, I think I decided I'm gonna bring him back, and we're gonna get him a nice Santa hat when he makes his return. He's on his way up to the North Pole to pick up his new wardrobe. You know. What's up, Kate? I do have an Instagram. It's just Obese to Beast. If you type in obese on Instagram, it'll probably pop up because I'm that famous. Pretty big deal, not gonna lie. This is some funky music. Hey, we get crazy up in here, you know what I'm saying? I love the bun. Well, thanks, Christina. What are you drinking? Just some coffee, some decaf, and some agua. Ba 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 dun dun. This is my favorite song on this album. It's just too good. It's lit, dude. It's very good. You need to restock the women's WFC tanks, please. It's just right now. It's just not the smartest idea to stock a bunch of tanks because of the. It's just cold most places. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's warm here. I'm wearing this because, you know, I got a self promo. Hey now, hey, pick up your hoodies and sweatshirts. You know what I'm saying? But I have the AC cranking. Gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? I can hear this music playing as an 80s Survivor girl builds a crazy obstacle course to take down a killer. I think of it as like a training montage, you know what I'm saying? Like working up for the 80s Olympics. I don't know when the Olympics were in the 80s. Was it 80, 84? I don't know. The weather is beautiful outside today. I agree. The music is giving me Sonic's old game vibes. I can see that. John dancing is the cutest thing ever. I wouldn't call it cute. I'd say it's impressive. You know what I'm saying? Do you play any games? Yes. If you go to my Twitch channel, you'll see which games I play there. Did everyone vote? Yes, I voted yesterday. Also, I wanted to say couple things. One, we are officially partnered on Discord. So I am an official Discord partner, which is very exciting. I'm very stoked about that. So thanks everyone that's joined. Nothing really changes. Like, I don't think anything is really going to change for you guys, but we get kind of fancier stuff. Like the audio quality should be better on the voice calls. Just little things like that. So that's very good. And also, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone that's watched the most recent video that I put out. I was kind of, I don't want to say I was nervous, but I wasn't expecting much. And the response has been really good with the meme review video. So makes me very happy. And so I think that will be something we do every once in a while here on the channel because people seem to really enjoy it. So thank you guys for that. I think like Rocky montage with this music. Yeah, definitely 100%. Still think you should do a live Zumba class? No. We love the meme reaction. I just have to shout out to my my editor Rico. He made that video 10,000 times better with his edits. So I know you're not here, Rico, but you did a great job, man. That he made it so much better than I would have been able to. Like so much better with the little added things that he did. Is the mean reaction one you recorded on the live stream the other day? Yes. Yeah, I recorded on the live stream and then we put it together for a video and he freaking crushed it. He knocked it out of the park. He did such a good job. John, how long until I stop hating burpees? 6 months now and they drive me crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jay. Never. I like burpees, but I don't know. I'm weird. What partnership I'll have to catch up? Just a Discord partnership. I haven't checked you out in a minute. Well, welcome, Escar. Do you and Jordan share Rico like a child? Yes, we pass him back and forth. Do a Spartan race. You'll quickly become accustomed to burpees. Well, I mean, if you do CrossFit, you become accustomed to burpees as well. Dude, the ad just before this video was Gymshark. That's funny. I hate burpees and I will never do them again. Well, then you'll never get better at them. Catching my first live stream. Hope all is well, everyone. Dookie Tang Chicken Wang. Welcome. I like your name. Thank you, John. You have helped change my life so much. Well, thank you. What is a Spartan race? Are you serious, sir? Spartan race, I meant that genuinely, because I feel like everyone knows what they are now. But it's basically just like a long obstacle course race with a bunch of different obstacles that are like super tough. I can burp on command. Does that count? Do you think I can still get results with home workouts? I get anxious thinking about going to the gym with all of the, I'm assuming without everything going on. Yeah, you definitely can. 100%. Burpees are not my thing. My fiance does them because he learned it in the military. I don't mind burpees at all. I really don't. I actually enjoy them. When my back is back to 100%, my back is back to 100%. Hey. But when I'm back to 100%, I'll definitely be adding a lot of burpees. I still kind of have to do them a little bit slowly because the flexion of the spine is just, it's still a little bit tender there. So we're getting better though. I ran today for the first time in quite a while. It was only 200-meter runs, but that was awesome. So we're getting there, my dudes. Hey, John, I'm losing weight at now down 35 pounds. You've been so encouraging and helpful. I work out at home and ride my bike. I also do IF. Congratulations, Amanda. That's awesome. Favorite late night snack? For me, it's probably like a low-calorie ice cream. I hit those up quite often at night. TBH. I actually tried burpees out for the first time last night. I did 8 and had to stop. Still a bit big for that, I think. Well, there's tons of like scaling options for burpees, right? Like there's so many. Like you could do, let me see. You probably can't really see me back here, but like you can do them like to a table, right? So if burpees are hard, like getting all the way down to the ground is hard, you can do them to a table. So like say this table is very shaky, so I'm not sure if this is the best idea, but you can just like come here, right? Right? So I mean there's ways that you can like scale them, and then obviously everything that I just showed you could do to a lower, like you could go from that table, which is, I mean, it's not super high, but it's relatively high. And then you can go to something a little bit lower, and then if you like, eventually you'll be able to do the jump back, right? Because I was doing the step back, so that's another scale. You could go all the way to the ground, but instead of like jumping all the way back, you can step back and then step up. Like burpees are, I don't know, I like burpees because I feel like they might seem like they are not accessible when you see like a full burpee, but there's so many ways to modify them that like you absolutely, like, you could do a burpee workout. I would say you could do a burpee workout regardless of how like unfit you might feel. Like you could probably even do them like to the wall, you know, like push off the wall. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just got really sidetracked right there. There we go. To the windows, to the wall. I definitely give modified burpees to clients. Yeah, I knew it. Do you think binge triggering food should be cut off forever? It just depends on the person. For me, like, I definitely cut off certain foods for a while. Not forever. I think forever, like, absolutes and diets aren't necessary. So I wouldn't say forever, but for a time, maybe, yeah. Always after I work out, you start to stream, and I watch while eating. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. There's so many variations. Everyone can hate burpees. Yeah, that's true. Down 60 pounds since my start back in July, 330 to 270 as of this morning. Well, that's awesome, Steven. Keep up the good work, man. I watch your videos when I wake up. Hey, that's awesome. Hi, I'm new here. 4'11", 180 pounds. I've been losing, and now to 170. Congratulations, that's awesome. Wow, that sounds so zen and relaxing. Wish I finished my workout. Wish I just finished my workout. I feel like I haven't heard you say "look how buff I am" in a while. If you come to the Twitch streams, I say it all the time. We have a command there where I'm forced to do it. I'm watching while dying on the Stairmaster. Hey! Keep up the good work. Here. Keep up the good work on the Stairmaster, all right? One foot in front of the other. Don't trip. Oh, also, what's up, Clara? I might die because I'm pretty sure I saw that there were a little spider web in here, and it had little baby spiders on it, and I cleaned it off before I started the stream, and I might have gotten bit by one or two or 7. So if I die, that's why. Okay? Or if I turn into Spider-Man, one or the other. You know, it's either I die or turn into Spider-Man. We don't know. You murdered those baby spiders? I didn't murder them. I moved them. Nightmare fuel. Yeah, they're little baby ones. This song is so good too. Come on, guys. Come on, everyone. Do your burpees. Do your burpees. Come on. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Do your burpees. Do your burpees. Yeah. Burpee time. Burpee time. Yeah. Burpee time. Burpee time. Did I motivate anyone? Did I motivate anyone to do burpees? Huh? Who's doing burpees right now? Come on, let's go. Burpees while driving. Amanda, you shouldn't be texting while driving. You hoodlum. I ate lunch. If I did a burpee right now, I'd yak. I don't believe you. I think you could do a burpee. I just took another swig of my beer. Beer peas. You're doing some beer peas. You know what I'm saying? You're such a positive voice in the fitness community, and it's so refreshing to know what it's like being on both sides. Well, thank you so much. I did burpees once in my life. It was the worst day of my life. I just imagined a spider doing a burpee. Well, there you go. What do you think of water fasting? Personally, not a huge fan of it. Dude, Josh, that's awesome, bro. Everyone give Josh a shout out. 6 months clean. Here, this is what we got to do. We got to turn the music off. We got to get serious. Josh, congratulations staying clean, bro. I'm proud of you. And the whole Discord is proud of you. And everyone in chat is proud of you. Keep up the good work, man. We love to see it. We love to see it, baby. There we go. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do here. Digital Dope Vlogs. I'm 6'6", 480 from 493. Your channel has helped a lot. Trying to stay motivated. Got to keep going. Digital Dope Vlogs. If you haven't joined the Discord yet, I highly recommend it. That is the place to be if you are losing weight. I'm telling you right now. But thanks for the $5 and congratulations, man. That's awesome. Keep up the good work, bro. Do a Richard Simmons montage to this song, John. Let's get some short shorts and some leg warmers on, dude. Just freaking go for it. That made me tear up. Oh my OMG, this community is the best. I mean, I agree that this community is the best. I'm 6'3" and 412 pounds. My trainer wanted me to do burpees. I said, hell no. Is twerking a good workout? Yeah, dude. I do it all the time, actually. It's that's my Friday workout usually is twerking. O2B now looks like Monsieur Candy from Django Unchained. Wait, which guy is that? I was scrolling on Instagram today and saw you in a red blow-up suit dancing. You did. That happened, you know? If you were here, if you were at the Twitch stream on Halloween, it was lit, dude. I was an Among Us guy. I was a hot dog, a fancy hot dog. It was crazy, man. He's Leonardo DiCaprio's character. Ah, okay. Morning from Australia started yesterday at 178 kilograms. Well, keep up the good work, Kev. You got it, bro. I am European and lying in bed. Warrior runs with a group of friends are the best. We need to get a channel warrior run together. Is a warrior run like a Spartan race? Is it kind of the same thing? I feel like the last 10 pounds are the hardest to lose. I hit a plateau, I guess. Yeah. You definitely do. What is burpees? I wish there was an easy way to show you. But it's basically what a burpee is you start from standing up and then you get down on basically on your chest and you do a push up and then you jump up to your feet and then you clap above your head. That's a burpee. So, and then there's tons of different ways you can do it. I had a Coke Zero today and thought of you, John. That's what's up, dude. Best diet soda. How much can you bench? My highest bench is 315. Back in high school. No, actually, I couldn't even bench 115 in high school, but yeah. Is Discord an app? Yes. Well, it's more than an app, but you can get it as an app. It's basically... Here, you know what? I can just show you. So for those of you guys that are not familiar with what Discord is, I guess I should do this every once in a while. But this is what it looks like. So this is Discord right here. This is my server. See? Look, it's my face. Wow, look at that. But we have all of these different channels. So the most used ones are probably general chat. So there's just people that come in here and talk, and there's people talking right now. See, it's just like it's like a forum site kind of, but it's also a chat. Anyone in Discord, everyone in the Discord, say hi. Everyone in the Discord, say hi on general chat. Say hi to YouTube. Watch, you'll see. Just give it a second. Just give it 1 second. Let's see. See, there you go. So it's also YouTube is saying hi to Discord. So this is like this is general chat. So this is where you can go to kind of talk about whatever you want. And then we also have all these different channels. Okay. So there's a questions channel where you can ask any question and people will answer. I'm not going to try and show too much of these stuff because it's kind of sometimes it's a little bit people don't want to talk. But this is a rants channel where people can rant about whatever they want. Sensitive topics. This is like an 18 plus kind of thing where we talk about stuff that maybe isn't allowed anywhere else. But it's not like NSFW, okay? So we don't talk about like sexy things. But then there's fitness chat where people talk about like workouts and different things like that. My friend Ron is a big part of that, and or Rob, sorry, and he does a lot of answering questions for people that might have different questions, and then we have like different ones. So swim, bike, run. This is for people who are like training for running or triathlons or swims or anything like that. And there's a check. So there's a bunch of different things. This is a TDEE bot, which you can enter these different like commands and it'll tell you what your TDEE is, which is really cool. And then we have a bunch of different things. So there's a selfies channel. I'm not going to go into that one because people didn't say I could show their pictures. So, but then there's a transformations, pets. These are all picture things. So you can put your art in there, memes, random photos. There's just a bunch of stuff, video games, chat. And then there's a bunch of, there's a bunch of people right now at this very moment. They're in this voice channel right here and they're talking. So it's a place to hang out. It's a place to hang out. No, it's free to join. It's a place to hang out and to feel comfortable about talking about weight loss, right? About weight loss, about fitness, and you won't get judged. It's a good community. We don't tolerate any sort of hate. So if that happens, you get kicked out right away. So we don't tolerate any of that. So it's a safe community. It's a cool community. And it's somewhere to, really just kind of hang out with people that might have similar goals to you. And so again, it's totally free, completely free. Doesn't cost you any money at all, but it's just a cool community. But yeah, so that's what it is. The link has been posted a few times, but I'm sure it'll get posted again. But yeah. Okay. So what's more effective for developing foot muscles, playing football or running? I don't really know too much about that, to be honest. I would say being barefoot is probably the best, is probably your best bet as far as, if you want to build muscles, that's probably a good idea. Also, I'm really excited. So we're going to start a little, I don't even want to call it interview, but a little conversation. So I have my friend right now who is in the Discord. His name's Rob, and I showed you guys him a little bit earlier. He is a personal trainer and just someone who I all in all think has some very good information and is a very smart dude when it comes to weight loss and fitness. And he actually has his own transformation himself. It's nothing super. It's not like he lost an unbelievable amount of weight, but this is him right here. So January 2019, September 2019, and then September this year, he's like way more jacked. But he has a lot of good information, and he actually made, I'm not sure how many of you guys were here, or if you watched the video, if you guys saw that pyramid, you guys remember that weight loss or fitness pyramid? He was actually the person that created it. So we're going to talk to him about just different like commonly asked questions when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to fitness, when it comes to any of that stuff. So we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A and kind of just talk through some things. And then we have I'm very excited. We're going to have a good reaction after that. We have a good video set up for you guys that I think you guys will enjoy. It's with someone you guys seem to like a lot. So hopefully I don't rustle too many feathers or rustle too many jimmies. But hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We get crazy up in here. What can I say? I gotta run. Will the live be saved? The live is always saved if you're in the Discord. You can click on the link in the Discord. I keep them unlisted though because I don't want to do a bunch of. I don't want to have a bunch of like lives just clogging up my video feed. Is it normal to lose a big appetite hunger when you go into a normal calorie deficit? I'm not sure I understand exactly what you're saying there. All right, let me turn off this music and let's get into this voice call with my boy. All right, here we go. All right. Yo, what up, dude? Can you hear me? All right.
Yep.
Let me make sure everyone else can hear you too.
Good.
Can you guys hear my boy?
Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
I set this up right before. Nice. I freaking nailed it, dude.
Yes.
I was able to figure it out all on my own. All right, dude.
Well,
so Rob, thank you so much for wanting to, have a little talk, have a conversation. You reached out to me, and you were like, "Hey, I have an idea. I have there's these, commonly asked questions that I feel like you get. I feel like I get a lot, and I think it would be interesting to have a conversation, kind of talking about these commonly asked questions." So, one, I think that's a great idea, and two, could you maybe explain your journey a little bit? I know that's probably a long one, but a short journey just so people kind of understand who you are and I guess why they should listen to anything you say.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, I started when I was younger. I was, chubby kid growing up. Wasn't like huge or significantly overweight, but I did lose weight just from diet, typical diet and exercise. But a huge part of fitness for me is the mental health component of it. So definitely, I went through a lot of things kind of growing up, a lot of personal things, suffered with depression, anxiety. And exercise was just kind of like a huge part of me managing that. So I kind of carried that over into what I'm doing now. So I have my formal education in mental health. I'm a social worker. I'm in grad school right now trying to finish my degree in social work. But I also do training and online coaching. And I kind of mesh the two together just because I feel like they're so strongly linked, especially when it comes to like diet. A lot of like disordered eating and things out there. But I just like to evaluate like people's habits. I think habits and trying to help people find a healthy lifestyle is like key and something that just gets disconnected with fitness with a lot of trainers. So yeah, that's just where I'm coming from.
Yeah, so I have a question. We'll get into the ones that you sent me, but I think it's really interesting. So the link between mental health and physical health, right? Like a lot of people,
Right.
and this is my own opinion, and tell me what you think. But I think a lot of people that are struggling with their mental health and they maybe are overweight, and this is myself included. You think that like I'm struggling with depression or anxiety or whatever, right? I'm struggling with this. So I think, and like I'm not happy with my weight. My weight is making me more sad. And so a lot of people think, and again, I'm including myself in this, is I'll lose weight and then everything will be better. Like, do you deal with that at all? Like people thinking weight loss is going to be a magic bullet that's going to solve everything that they deal with.
Yes, and I think they don't see it consciously. So it's not like they think they say that to themselves where they're like, well, yeah, if I lose the weight, everything will be better. But what happens is the losing the weight starts to take over their life. And then it sacrifices everything, their happiness. And yeah, they do see it as like ultimate goal. And they don't realize like they're codependent, just like you might think losing weight is going to influence your mental health. But your mental health is also influencing you losing weight. So it's like a vicious cycle. So yeah, I mean, I definitely see that a lot. But yeah, I mean, usually what people don't realize is that when I'm not going to say everyone who's overweight has some kind of psychological issue, but I feel that most people who are significantly overweight or obese, there is something going on there. And, they found a big link with that. They have what they call like the big ACE study, the adverse childhood experience study. And that was like a huge eye opener. It was like a huge study that happened years ago. where they found a link between like childhood trauma and adverse experiences and a lot of health issues that come along when you're an adult. And I mean, it's been linked to like alcohol addiction, drug addiction, being obese and being overweight, having high cholesterol, things like that. A lot of like physical health things. So, and that study was actually sparked, like what influenced that study was an obesity clinic where they found out like 80% of the people who went there has some kind of trauma or some kind of issue going on. So there usually is a link. So yeah, I think kind of going back to that, unfortunately, people think that losing weight is going to fix something, not realizing that the reason that they are overweight is because there's something that isn't being fixed. So
no, that's super interesting. I mean, I've been pretty open about my past and stuff. I definitely, my childhood wasn't the best. It was taken away from my parents when I was at a really young age because of drugs and stuff. And then luckily I was able to be put back with them. But I mean, it's especially looking at other people in my family, like they have found ways to cope in other ways, which, won't be legal, but like I was able to find coping in a legal way, but it really was obviously not the best for my body, and I think that's so interesting, man. Like, and it makes sense, but I do want to say, like, I don't want people to think like, oh, losing weight isn't going to help at all. Like, I do believe that there are so many positive benefits from like losing weight. It's just don't think that losing the weight will 100% solve everything.
Yeah, it'll fix some issues, and it might lighten up some symptoms and certain things, definitely. But it's not going to fill whatever a hole is there that kind of caused the issue in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I've brought this meme up like a few times, but it was years ago that I saw it, and I remember it just hit me, and I was like, oh man, I reposted it on my Instagram. I think this was before stories were a thing, so I like put it on my page, and it was this like it was just like a poorly made drawing, like on purpose, but it was like a big person, and they were like, oh, I hate myself, right? And then the next frame was them skinny, and they were like, well, that wasn't it, and I was just like, oh man,
wow,
dude,
yeah.
like. Oh, it hit me right in the heart. I was like, oof. Because you just think like, because our size is something that we're constantly thinking about, especially in the current climate of the world. I think it's just something that you're constantly, you're always thinking, I'm this way because of my size. Like this is, and so it's hard not to be like, okay, maybe I can work on this, but at the same time, like this isn't going to be the silver bullet. This isn't going to fix everything for me.
Yeah, and that's why that's why I like to have talks with people and have those talks with clients that have in that mental health background, where when I do start to see that kind of glaring, I'm not going to sit there and maybe have like a therapy session with them, but it's something that I can kind of guide them along as we start getting healthy, as we start, losing weight, and just having that background, I feel helps.
And just kind of letting people know that it's like, hey, it's okay if you feel like there's more to it than just eat less. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like, oh, I just feel like it's okay. It's very normal to feel that way,
Yes.
But yeah, so let's get into the actual questions, because I mean, I feel like we can talk about this stuff forever. I have the list of questions here. So I think I'll just kind of ask you the question, and I'll hear what you have to say, and maybe I'll just interject every now and then. I'll try not to interrupt too much. I struggle with it, but we'll see. Okay, so the first question is, should I do strength training while losing weight? So what do you think about that one?
So yeah, a lot of people ask that, and like I said, the question might come in different forms, but it boils down to that. And I usually say yes. So I feel like strength training is really important for weight loss. Like of course you can lose weight without doing strength training movements. You can walk, do cardio, but I think in the long run, preemptively, it's going to help your weight loss journey further along. Because there's only so much you can do just doing cardio and just doing walking and being in a calorie deficit. At some point, you're going to kind of burn out. And actually, one of the questions later on kind of relates to this too. The later questions where they're like, well, now what? Like, I'm bored with just doing cardio. I'm bored. Like, what else can I do in the gym? And you can do strength training, or you can do like cardio circuits and movements. But in order to do those movements, you got to have a strength training like foundation. I think a lot of people don't realize that strength training is a skill, and it takes time to learn. You can't just jump in there and just do the movements, you know? So I think it's really important to learn it like early on in your journey. Learn how to do a squat, learn how to do lunges so those movements become a little bit easier. And then, yeah, like, you know, as you lose weight, you're probably going to need to start doing strength training because then you need to preserve your lean muscle mass. And that's another one, you know, that's another reason why it's important. I think, you know, as you lose weight, you kind of get that, I don't want to say skinny fat look, but, you know, you start losing lean muscle mass. And I think most people want to lose weight for health benefits. You want to be healthy, and having a certain level or amount of strength is healthy. You know, it benefits you. It's going to help you in life. So that's what I say. Yeah.
And I think that one thing that's important to differentiate is I think when people hear strength training, they think, oh, I need to be doing heavy deadlifts. I need to do powerlifting, or I need to do like Olympic weightlifting. Like when strength training could be at the start, literally just body weight movements, right? Air squats. Like if you're 200 pounds and you're a 4'8" female, like doing push-ups and air squats is that's strength training, right? Or if you're a 300-pound dude, or even if, like for me, I do a lot of push-ups still, right? And like that counts. At least I believe that counts as strength training, right? I understand why so many people are a little, because it is, like you said, it's a skill, and so it's something that you have to learn, and that's nerve-wracking, especially like if you do decide to go to a gym and you're like, holy crap, what are all of these machines? I'm afraid to pick up dumbbells. I feel like everyone's going to look at me, which I understand. Like those are completely fair things to be stressed out about. But I think that like being able to push yourself to a point where you actually take that step is super important. And I think that strength training, like, again, it doesn't have to be the main thing that you're doing. Like if you want to do a lot of cardio, that's fine, but like do a little bit at least. Right, to where you're building that muscle, because we all know that muscle like burns more. It requires more energy than fat does. So the more muscle you have, the more calories you can consume. Right, it's more complicated than that. But like if we're just looking at it at a calorie level, more muscle you have, more calories you can consume. Like if you look at bodybuilders, they can eat like 5,000 calories, and they're like, that's them cutting. You know, not saying you should, because that goes into steroids and all this stuff. But like it's just true. And like think about it. If you're someone that is trying to lose weight, or even trying to maintain weight loss, the more calories you can have, the easier it's going to be to maintain that, right? So
exactly. Yep. No, I totally agree. Yeah, and like you said, it doesn't have to be a huge part of your training. I mean, just starting out, if you're doing if your goal is weight loss, you know, your activity should primarily be calorie burning activity. So yeah, I mean, maybe do your hour of cardio and just sprinkle in maybe 10 minutes of doing some push-ups and squats, and just go from there. Maybe see how much it interests you, and then maybe you can do more of it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, because we're going to end up being here for 3 hours. So next question was, should I do diet breaks or refeeds? So I think what would be helpful is if you were to explain what that was, and then explain whether or not someone might want to do that.
All right, so like diet breaks is just like it sounds, like you're on a calorie deficit, and then you just take a break. You stop. You eat at like maintenance for maybe a few days. It depends. Like some people need it for a couple of days or a week. And refeeds is like the same thing, except usually it's just like a day. So like you're on a calorie deficit, and then you take one day to eat, maybe maintenance, maybe a little bit higher, and then you go back to eating. And I think I think I'm not going to speak too much on like the physiological and like hormonal benefits. Like, you know, I'm sure there are, and I've read a little bit, but I'm not too versed on it. But I would say, like, for habit purposes, I think they're great. Like being on a calorie deficit for a while can be draining, like mentally draining. And you're constantly trying to like fight temptation. Sometimes it takes a role in your social life too. Like you're trying to engage in events, and here you are like maybe packing food, or just, you know, abstaining from doing certain things. So I think like taking a diet break, maybe because it's convenient for like a life event. Let's say you're going to be going out of town and you want to enjoy yourself a little bit better. Take a diet. That would be the time to take it, you know, like maybe to give yourself a break. But I think a huge thing that people need to look out for is when you say diet break, it's not an excuse to binge. They're like, and I think that's where people go wrong. You know, they think like, okay, well, I'm taking a break from diet. I'm going to stop tracking. I'm just going to eat everything. That's where you go wrong. That's when you start yo-yoing. And of course, you're going to gain weight. One thing to keep in mind, though, like if you do a diet break, chances are you will gain a little weight. Like it's gonna happen. Like just with the extra like water weight, with the extra glucose, and yeah, like your with metabolic adaptation, like your metabolism is a little bit slower. So what you might think is maintenance is a little surplus. So
Mm-hmm.
you might gain a little weight, but that's okay in the long run. Like it's better that here you are, if your goal is to lose 100 pounds, and that's going to take a while, and if somewhere along the way you gain a little, maybe extra 5-10 pounds, and if you burn it right off, it's okay. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
fine. And sometimes your body just needs that nourishment too, just to get back on track.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head right there with saying it's more about the mentality when we're talking about refeeds or like a diet break, because a lot of people when they think like it's the same as a cheat meal or a cheat day, when I
Yeah.
think that those are they're very different things. Like, I think a lot of people will use a cheat day as a way to eat whatever they want and as much as they want, right? Where
Yeah.
that shouldn't, because then you are restricting to a point where you feel that you need to have that cheat day or cheat meal every week, where if that's where
Yeah.
your mind is going, that's probably not the best place to be. Like when we're talking about diet breaks or refeeds, it's more like this is almost a necessity. Like you were saying, my family is having an event, the holidays are coming up, right? So that's a great like, okay, Christmas is going to be a refeed or a diet break day, not a cheat day. It's like I'm going to allow myself to have what I might want, but I'm not going to say, okay, this is the day where I can have anything, so I'm going to have as much as I possibly can, right? Those are two different things.
Right. Yeah,
All
and if
right,
it's
cool.
and that's one thing. That's one thing to like evaluate your diet. Like if you find yourself looking forward to a diet break and as an excuse to eat whatever you want,
Mhm.
then maybe you need to reevaluate how you're dieting too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. Do I need a lot of protein to retain muscle mass during weight loss, and how much?
So I think a lot of people, they think they need a lot more protein than they think. It's
Yes.
You don't need a lot of protein. I think that's just something that's been pushed with like the
Protein
agenda of selling
infused
all these supplements
coffee,
and protein powders.
protein
Yeah,
infused
it's
water,
crazy.
protein infused like
You don't
bisques
need
that
that
you can
much.
eat. Or
It's crazy. So no, you don't need a lot. Usually, like what 0.7, 0.8 grams per pound of body weight is good enough. I know some people will hear like 1 gram per pound of body weight. That's a little excessive. You don't
That's
need
yeah.
that much. And go ahead.
Especially if we're looking at body weight, like imagine if you're 300 pounds, like you do not need 300 grams of protein, like you don't.
Exactly.
Like it's
Yes.
so much.
And and that's what I was going to say too. And another thing to consider is that usually those calculations are by lean body mass too. So like if you're like 200 pounds, and 250 pounds, and it's mostly fat, zero point 0.8, that is going to be 200. You don't need 200 grams of
Mhm.
protein. Like your lean body mass is a lot less than that. Chances are you probably need the same amount of protein as somebody who's maybe 180 pounds or something
Yep.
like that, who's really like lean and jacked. So yeah, even that much is high. And keep in mind, again, zero point 0.8 is a little bit on the higher side of that. So yeah, but it's still important to get the protein, and you still want to preserve your lean body mass. But like I said, like on top of that, the larger you are, the more lean body mass you have just by default.
Yeah.
And you're not going to lose as much. It's usually when you start getting really lean and leaning down that you need to be a little bit more careful
Yeah.
about losing that lean mass. Yeah.
Which is not something that most people like. When you're saying really lean, like you're talking about, I assume, is like people that are about to compete, right? Like are getting
Yeah.
stage lean to a point. Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. Like so I weigh 210 215 pounds. I'm a little thick, it's winter. But I eat anywhere from maybe 150 to maybe 180 grams of protein. Like
Yeah.
I don't,
Eh,
and so it's just not necessary. And one, like there's so many reasons where it's not needed. Like I mean, getting your protein in, like I use protein powders and stuff all the time, but it's like because
mhm.
I just helps me get the protein in. But it's not like I feel like I need to have 500 grams of protein a day, because one, shoot, man, that's gonna mess your stomach up, and two,
Yeah.
like it's expensive too. Like if you're eating that much protein, like protein for the most part is usually going to be a little bit more expensive than like a carb or a fat.
Mhm.
There's obviously exceptions to that, but it's not the most financially viable way to eat either. And so I like that we're talking about this because I think a lot of people, they think they need to have like, these super lean, perfect grass-fed protein options, and it's just not necessary, man.
No, it's not. No. And that's a good example. Like you said, you eat about 150 grams of that's around what I eat. And, I'm leaner. I'm a lot lighter than you. It's kind of just because of the lean mass is probably about the same between me and you. I'm just smaller. You know what I mean? So that's actually a good example. So,
yeah. All right, cool. So next question. This is kind of relates to the first one, but I think this is an important one. Can I gain muscle while losing fat? This is a big question.
I know. It's a big question. I think everyone asks because it's like the best of both worlds, right? Like, but yeah, it's possible, especially if you're not, if you're new to the gym and you have some significant weight to lose, then yeah, it's possible. I mean, your body has all that fat, it has all that energy. It's looking to lose the weight like quickly, and it's going to use that extra energy that it has. Even though you're in a calorie deficit, that's energy in reserve. That's going to help you build the muscle. Now, again, as you get, like we talked about earlier, as you get leaner, that gets a little bit harder. It's harder to do both. When you get like, if you're trying to go down and you're trying to do both, what I would recommend, like you can still do it. It's just harder. But what I recommend, if you're trying to lose fat and you're trying to gain muscle around the same time and you're pretty lean already, I would try to avoid going on a calorie deficit, and I would instead try to like eat at maintenance and increase your activity.
Yep.
Because I think people go to that calorie deficit, but they're not realizing like it's not just the calories your body needs, it's the nutrients, the BCAAs, all that stuff that you need to build muscle. You need that in your body. So it's kind of better to get that in and get in a calorie deficit by increasing your activity, and then go from there. Then you can only increase your activity so much, then start cutting if you start hitting a plateau. But that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people, like you always hear people talking about cutting or bulking. And I think that for a lot of people, especially if you're no longer at a place where your weight is making you unhealthy, right? Like as far as being overweight, like living in maintenance for as long as you can, I personally think it's the best choice for most people. And I think it's the most realistic thing because it takes the least amount of effort because you're just eating at maintenance. So you're not trying to overly cut or overly restrict to where you're hungry. And then you're also not trying to overly indulge to where you're kind of full all the time. You're just eating in maintenance, and then you're, like you said, like increasing your activity. Like for me, this is kind of what happened naturally through like finding different ways of training. Like I did bodybuilding, then I found CrossFit, and then I found running, and then like all of these different things. I just naturally kind of stayed in maintenance because I wasn't trying. Because again, if the more you're in a deficit, it doesn't just affect how you lose weight. It affects your mood. It affects your energy levels. It affects all of that stuff. So if you are super low energy, you're not going to want to do more training. You're not going to want to lift heavier. So if you're at maintenance, you'll feel better. You'll want to train more, and obviously you'll recover better too. Because if you're in a deficit, it's harder to recover. So yeah, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, that's honestly how I got to my leanest. Like I was eating like 3,000 calories a day at my size, and I was increasing my activity, and I mean I felt better doing it that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is a good one. What should I do if I am skinny fat, cut or bulk? So can you explain? You kind of said it a little bit earlier, but what is skinny fat to someone that might not know what that term is?
So like skinny fat, I guess it's not like a technical term, but it's like it's somebody who's kind of they have a small frame, so they're kind of skinny. Maybe they're not considered overweight, but they just kind of lack definition. They still have a little bit of rolls. So they have small measurements, they're small frame, but they have some body fat, and they don't see much definition in their frame. They may not have a six pack, or somebody who is just as small as them. And to me, I would say focus on strength training. So I guess you would say bulk, because the reason you don't have that shape is because you don't have that lean body mass. And I think sometimes people see people who are really lean, and it looks like they don't have, like, you're like, wow, he's really skinny. Like he doesn't have any lean body mass. They do. They have some that's filling them out, and kind of like, and if you have two people who have the same amount of body fat, the person who has more muscle mass is going to look leaner too.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing people think, that when I think a lot of people are going for aesthetics and they think less body fat is going to make them look leaner, just that alone. But no, I mean, it's a lot of illusion, like building your shoulders, getting that kind of like V taper and building muscle. That's going to help you a lot better. So I would say to focus on actually eating a little more and trying to bulk up. That's my recommendation.
I think that with skinny fat, I mean, it's such a hard thing because it's there's a lot of people that deal with it. I personally would honestly think about doing kind of what you said for the last question, is like living in maintenance, not like overly indulging in food, but just increasing that activity. And like you said, like trying to build muscle instead of like, because a lot of people want to get super lean, but then you get super lean, but now you still don't have any muscle. So what are you going to do? You want to gain muscle, so you have to eat more, so that fat's going to come back, and then it's going to be like, oh, I need to cut again. Like, it's a struggle.
Yeah,
so like I would almost consider like being in maintenance and then increasing your activity from there, and trying to get stronger, trying to increase. Like, so many people get so focused on how they look, and that's like it. Once you start not focusing on just how you look and focusing on how you perform in the gym. Like, I want to lift heavier. Like, my 5-rep max back squat, I'd like to get that higher, or I'd like to jump a little bit higher, or something like that. Like, that can be so helpful instead of just focusing on, oh, how do I look? Because there's so many things that go into how you look in a day. Like, how much water you're retaining, how you ate the day. Like, it's just, or if people use the scale solely, I'm like, man, it's a great tool, but there's so much more to, as not even just aesthetics, but to your life and to your overall health than just that number on the scale.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you know about like weight fluctuations, like day to day. I mean, you'll have one day you're just like, like, and I see it a lot in the Discord too. Like, what, I gained like 5 pounds in one day? No, it's fine. It's normal.
Yeah,
it's totally
fine.
like,
I tell people all the time, I fluctuate between 10 and 12 pounds a day. Like, and I think part of it's because of my loose skin and stuff like that. Also, it retains a lot of water, but like, it's crazy. And I like to look at it. It's interesting to me, but I know if someone that's not super well versed with how their body is and how they fluctuate, they might be like, what the frick is going on? Like, why am I gaining so much weight? It's like, chill out, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So next one. I've lost weight. This is kind of something that you talked about. I've lost weight through walking/cardio. What's next? What more can I do?
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we kind of answered that, I think, a little bit. Focusing on like doing the strength training movements. I don't want to say strength training, but just playing around with different movements in the gym. So yeah, I mean, especially when you're larger, you're going to be limited in your movements, and so maybe walking or doing the like cardio on the elliptical was the only thing you could do.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like building that skill base so you can do more, so that you can make your workouts more interesting, like going to a class, going to a Zumba class, or like going to a body pump class, or even getting on like a cycle, doing a cycling class, things like that. Just kind of building your skill base from there. So it doesn't have to just be strength training, but start exploring different movements to get your body moving in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with all of that. I think like all that stuff, like finding something that you enjoy. Like, I mean, I talk about that all the time. Like, the best workout, right, is something that you enjoy. But obviously it's like, it's going to be kind of scary, but like sometimes you have to just put yourself out there, and maybe you might not enjoy it right at the start because maybe you're just a little nervous or you're not super used to it. But if you kind of like put yourself out there, especially with like classes, I think classes can be great. I know a lot of people kind of like hate on them or whatever, but if it motivates you to go, and like being around other people motivates you, and they push you, like that's, I love doing CrossFit, and that's one of the things I really like about it is people feel like they're part of a community, and that will foster these relationships that people enjoy. So that is an added benefit of going to the gym. And so it's not just, I like to work out. That's it. It's like, no, I like to be around these people that I enjoy, and we just happen to do CrossFit or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Like, you enter whatever workout you want to put. But yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Okay. Next one. This is a big one. How do I deal with binging? I'm sure there's a lot of people.
That's a huge. I know that's
I'm sure
like,
there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, yes, please.
That's a lot to unpack. So I mean, there's not like a one catch-all answer to that.
Exactly, 100%. I agree.
One of the big things I would say though, like right away, is if you are struggling with binging, stop your diet. If you're trying to deal with disordered eating or dealing with binging while you're in a calorie deficit, I heard that I was listening to a podcast and I heard this like eating disorder specialist describe doing that as like stepping on the brake and the gas at the same time. It's just it's just you're not going to go anywhere with that because whatever the reason is that you're binging, it's only going to be perpetuated by you being in a calorie deficit and craving food.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, you don't even know the cause of the binge. Like you don't know, is it because I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm just starving, or is it there's something more? So I would say first, kind of like take yourself off of the calorie deficit and give yourself time to readjust. So don't just take a diet break. I've gotten that too. Like I spoke to somebody in the Discord where they're like, well, I took a diet break for like 2 days and I got back on. Well, it takes a little bit longer than that to address, disordered eating. So get off of that, allow yourself to readjust. Once you kind of reach satiety, that point where you're off the calorie deficit, you get over that hump of, man, I just need to refeed. Start exploring your habits and your routines. Like sometimes there's external triggers to binge eating. So it could be stress. It could just be environmental. Like I was talking to someone in Discord and I asked them, well, when do you normally have your binging episodes? And it was late at night when he's sitting in front of late at night when he's sitting in front of his laptop watching YouTube. And I said, well, here's an idea. Why don't you just go to bed? And he's like, I guess I should. I'm not doing anything. So yeah, like, sometimes just having that routine of like sitting on the couch, putting on the laptop right there, you're going to be triggered to be snacking on something.
Mm-hmm.
So it can go like that. Just look at your habits. If you're finding that it's this is just a social worker in me talking, like if you're finding that it's something a little bit more emotional or you just can't get a handle of where it's coming from, that it just kind of seems to come from nowhere, I would try to like talk to someone. And this kind of goes back to just having other things going on. Usually a lot of people who you have to look at like food addiction as any other addiction. And most people who have an addiction, most people who are alcoholics, they have some kind of trauma or something going on in their life. Like the two fields of trauma and addiction are like, they're linked strongly. So if you want to think of food addiction, which I think it is, I think it's a valid thing. If you want to think of it like that, then yeah, there's something else going on and it might benefit you to go talk to someone if you can't narrow it down any other way.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all of that. I have a question, and this is kind of putting you on the spot because we didn't talk about this, but would you, or could you maybe, would you say there's a differentiating factor between binging and just like kind of overeating? And like, how would you kind of be like, oh, I'm just overeating versus, oh, I'm definitely like, this is a binge episode, right?
So usually a big part of the binge is the guilt that comes after it. So if you find that you've overate, but there's like an extreme amount of guilt that comes from it, then that's a big part of it. And usually binging, there is when you binge, there's kind of a bit of like an out of body experience when it happens too. So like, yeah, you can overeat, and I think we've all experienced that. We've all kind of experienced that where we're just like, we just want to eat a little bit more. But when it turns into kind of like, and I think we've all had this, like when we've been on a diet too long or something, where we kind of have that out of body. But if it keeps happening, and again, if you're not on a calorie deficit and you find that you're just kind of like in this zombie mode, and you feel better, like once you take it, you kind of feel numb when you're eating, then that's a big thing, because that craving, that out of body experience and that numbness is very similar to like self-harm. Oh, yeah. So like people who do self-harm, like they describe that kind of numb, kind of out of body experience. And it's the same thing where you're trying to seek pleasure, and it's the pleasure center in your brain just trying to give you something to feel. And just that numb and kind of out of body experience, I think that's a little bit of a red flag right there too.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. And like, just to kind of bring it back to my own personal experience, because I definitely did struggle with binge eating for a while. The way that I definitely like felt a binge was like you explained, the numb feeling. I mean, it's like I still struggle with that numb feeling sometimes. Like I don't quell it with food anymore. But I remember like when I would binge, it truly felt like I had no control. Like there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I can do to stop it from happening. And I would I'm not sure if this is normal for other people, but like sometimes or most times I would know I was going to binge way before it happened. It was like earlier in the day, I kind of was like, oh, well, that's happening today. Like I've explained it as like, it almost felt like there was like a grim reaper or someone like behind me. And a lot of times I would be able to push him away and not let him touch me and get me. Cause once he touched me, it was like, okay, well, I have to do what he tells me to do. So a lot of days I was able to keep him away from me. But once he kind of grabbed me, it was like game over. Like this is happening. And for me, what helped me a lot, again, the reason I'm saying it like that is because I'm not, a therapist, or I'm not saying that this is what you need to do. But what helped me a lot was I started to understand that my binging was very related to my over restricting. And at this time, I was thinking I was doing really well because I was eating 700 to 1,000 calories a day, thinking, oh, I'm just doing good. Like, this is what I need to do. Like, I'm trying to lose weight. And I noticed that when I would eat 2,000 calories, I was losing weight. So then I bumped it down to 1,500, and now I'm losing weight faster. So if I bump it down to 1,000 or to 700, I'll lose it even faster. It kind of worked, right? But at the same time, it led me down this path that was like, the thing with binging that I think a lot of people struggle with is that it truly feels, and I'm sure it's similar to any sort of self-harm or addiction, is it feels like, one, you're alone, right? You feel like no one else does this, when in reality, I think a lot of people struggle with this, but you feel like no one else struggles with this. So it's this shame and this guilt that you feel, but then you feel out of control. Like, and then that feeling of feeling out of control, you're like, I feel like no matter what I do, it's not going to fix this. And so it's really like disheartening for the person that's struggling with it. You know?
Definitely. And I agree. And I think there's a lot. I know this is probably going to really go into like the healthier every size thing. That's like a whole nother door, I know. But like, I personally feel like that's kind of where that comes from, where instead of kind of addressing those issues that's so painful and trying to like get into those habits, they just instead say, I'm going to close that door. I'm going to close that emotional door, and I'm just going to be proud of where I am and just embrace it. I think that's a big part where it comes from. It's scary. It's scary to address those things.
Yeah, it's definitely like, I think that a lot of people can get a lot of help just from their own if they're maybe not able to afford someone to help them. Like really, like you were saying, looking at your habits and just like being like, okay, am I not eating enough? And that might sound silly if you're trying to lose weight, but like really start to think like, am I over restricting? Because if you're over restricting your body, it's not just a mental thing. It's like your body's like, I need more food. Like we need to eat. And then it, it kind of manifests in that binge. But again, it's with binge eating, I think a big part of it too is understanding why it's happening to you and looking, like you were saying, at the past things, looking at what brought you up to that point. A lot of people just like to focus on that exact thing, and it was like, well, I was doing this exact thing and this is what happened. When I think what's more important is what led me to that point.
Yes. Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So next one, that one we could talk about forever, but next one is, should I do reverse dieting? So could you explain what reverse dieting would be to someone that might not know?
So I was surprised that the concept was like a little popular. So I don't think there's much scientific backing for reverse dieting, but I think it's a really good idea. The idea of reverse dieting is that when you're in a calorie deficit, instead of just when you're done with it, instead of jumping to maintenance, what you do is you just slowly increase calories. Maybe you do, 100, 200 every week or something like that, or even less, which is a little hard to track. But, and I think it's a good idea just because it adds structure to what you do after the diet. I think a lot of people don't have a plan when they come off of the diet. Like they're usually, like, especially if you've been dieting or in calorie deficit for so long, it becomes almost like a lifestyle. Like you have your habits, you have your foods that you like to eat, you have your routines, and then now it's like, well, what do I do now? So they just suddenly just say, well, I'm just going to eat more. That can really throw you off. So I think like kind of controlling that urge to just say, oh, I'm off the diet, let me just kind of take in food. I think it really helps to just have that control and have a plan. Like sometimes just it's not the plan, but having any plan is going to help, just having that structure. And just like physically too. So when you diet, a lot of things happen to your body. Like your body goes into survival mode. Like your BMR kind of slows down, your NEAT levels go down. So your metabolic adaptation. Your body just kind of goes down. So what happens is if you just calculate your maintenance and then just say, well, I'm just going to eat at maintenance, you're probably going to overshoot because your metabolism is still kind of shut down at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So slowly increasing the calories and letting that metabolic adaptation kind of increase with it, I think that's really that's going to help. So that's just my view on it. I think it's a good tool. I'm not advocating for it like it's something I tell my clients to do. I think it's a good tool, but you can do it any other way.
Yeah. I know when I first heard about reverse dieting, it was it's a lot more popular in like the competition scene. So like bodybuilding competitions from like people that get really lean because you are eating, like some dudes are eating less than 1,000 calories, or like a lot of women are eating less than 1,000 calories. Again, competing isn't super healthy. So like that's too low of calories for a human, but it's like I'm trying to get as lean as humanly possible. So it's like when they are going from that level of leanness, it's like, obviously, they're not going to eat back at their maintenance, which might be 3,000 calories. So it's eventually slowly increasing those calories, so you're not putting on a ton of excess weight, getting back to a normal calorie range. I think that it can be helpful, but like you said, I think that it's not something that I would really stress too much about. Because if you're losing weight and you're not overly restricting, like, and you're eating at a good amount of a deficit, maybe you're eating at 500 calories, and you end up you're happy with where your weight is, and then if you just start eating back at maintenance, which maybe is only a 500 calorie difference, like I wouldn't really stress too much about that, because like you said, you're probably, with that extra 500 calories, your NEAT is going to go up, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that's just like, you're probably going to move a little bit more because you have more calories in you. And then your workouts might get a little bit better because, again, you have more calories in you. So it might more or less kind of even out anyways, to where it's really not that big of a deal. Again, I think that it can be helpful and it can be useful. And I'm not saying don't do it, but I wouldn't stress too much about it. I think it's like when we talk about the pyramid you made, right? Like it would be like, it's like one of those things that's probably at the very top, that it's like, I wouldn't stress too much about it. Get the foundation done before. But yeah, so that was a good one.
And I think when you just real quick, I think also when you come off of a diet too, it's important. I think people get so afraid of gaining any weight. Like I'm at my weight now, I want to maintain exactly where it is. And I think instead of having that mentality, when you shift your mentality to, I want to minimize weight gain when you start, I think that's the better, because chances are you will gain a little weight. You and that's
100% will. Like,
yeah.
Okay, 100% isn't, I probably shouldn't say that, but like for the most part, people, when they stop losing weight, their bottom weight is probably lower than it should be anyways, right? Like when I was down at my lowest, 180 pounds, dude, if I tried to always stay at that weight, I would be miserable. Like I weigh 35 pounds more than my lowest weight, but I still think I'm healthy, And so I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a good one too. I am anxious about going to the gym because I've never been there or haven't been there in a long time. How do I get over this? And so, like, basically, how do you deal with gym intimidation? Like, what, how do you deal with that?
So I got this, and there was one person I kind of really had a lengthy discussion with him about it. But I think getting over the anxiety is having a plan. So it can be really intimidating, like especially if you have anxiety already. It's super intimidating to get in the gym. And honestly, I know that's something that I struggle to empathize with because I've been going to the gym for so long. Like it's hard for me to remember that. But being somewhere new, I would say have a plan. So that way, when you walk in, you don't feel lost, you don't feel overwhelmed, just kind of know what you're going to do. I usually recommend to people to stick to machines. So maybe, especially if you haven't been to that gym before, maybe just going on a cardio machine or sticking to the machines, things that are just really easy to figure out. You can even do it preemptively and just go to the gym and not work out. Just do a little rehearsal run, just kind of go in there, look. Because if you go in there for the first time ever and you're trying to look for things, it's a little overwhelming. Go in there, see where the machines are, and develop your plan. You can go with a friend. That's a huge one too. Going with a friend can help. And also you can rehearse some things at home too. So you could start off with machines, but if you want to start playing with free weights or just doing some body weight stuff, do a little routine at home so that when you get to the gym, it's rehearsed. So a big thing with anxiety, when I help people with anxiety, is rehearsal is going to help. a lot, reducing that, just because it's going to become second nature. And one little tip too I give is, once you're in the gym, I know it's really tempting to just kind of keep your head down, stay in your own world because you're just a little intimidated. Take a moment to just look around at everyone else and trying to take in the fact that nobody is looking at you. Nobody cares. Everybody's in their own world. And just kind of take that in every now and then, especially as you start to get confident. So that way, when that anxiety does kick in, you've kind of rehearsed that and you can look around and have that same thought, like, you know what, I'm feeling anxious. No one's looking at me. Like, everybody's minding their business. So I think those little things can help.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think one of the things that can be so helpful is having that routine, or have like a plan when you go in. And like you said, like if you maybe feel a little weird about going to the gym and not doing anything, right? Like, go to the gym and like get on a piece of cardio equipment, and then just like, this works at the gyms that I go to, because a lot of times the cardio equipment's in the back of the gym. So get on that piece and then look around and kind of see where everything is, and you'll kind of figure it out. And then again, maybe once you're done, you kind of walk around a little bit. It doesn't have to be super obvious, but you kind of just like, take a lap, see what they have, and then like something that I think helps a lot of people is have that plan for when you go in and you decide you are going to lift. So maybe take a mental note of what equipment is there, and then look up like super simple stuff. Like if you can't afford a personal trainer, you're going to have to do it on your own. Look up back day workouts, chest day workouts, push day workouts, pull day workouts, whatever you want, leg workouts, and then watch videos, find out what can I do, what do I feel like is possible. Probably not, I wouldn't say go in and try and do back squats by yourself, right? But like see what machines are there that you know what I mean, like, and have that plan for then once you go in, you can be on your phone, be like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do first, and go to that machine. And if that machine's taken, just be like, okay, I'll go to this other one that I have planned out. And like, so you're not thinking like, because people, if you're standing around and looking like this, and it's like you feel like it's very obvious that you don't feel like you belong there, that anxiety is going to rise so fast, right?
Yeah.
And so having that plan, and again, like you said, taking that second to look around and be like, okay, no one's really staring at me, and like internalizing that and realizing that, because it's so easy to start to think, oh, this person's looking at me, that person's looking at me. Just be able to be like, okay, no one cares. Like, I'm just going to do my own thing. It really is like super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like what you said about having a backup plan too.
Yeah.
Like if a machine is taken, so that's a good idea too.
Yeah, it sucks if that you're like, crap. Okay, so and then this is the last one that I have written out here. It says, should I do specific types of workouts if I want to look a certain way or look like a certain person? I want to look like Captain America. Do I need to do the Captain America workout?
Yeah. So not really. Like, I think when you start thinking like that and having like a specific body type in mind, you kind of have to start reassessing your goals and like your reasons for losing weight. And just realize that you're gonna look how you're gonna look. Like, you can't really predict how you're gonna look once you lose the weight, I think a big part of that too is like the loose skin thing. People are like, well, what if I get loose skin? And you have to accept, like, you don't know. And you have, your body is individual. Your body's different. Now, it depends on how you want to look. If you just want to lose weight and you just want to be slim, then yeah, you just do what you enjoy and just take it very casual. If you're looking to be a bodybuilder or look like that, then yeah, you have to train like a bodybuilder. But I think it's important to kind of assess your goals, and especially if you're really early in your journey, instead of trying to pigeonhole yourself into a style of training or pigeonhole yourself into like an aesthetic goal, just kind of first get your habits in order and just accept yourself for who you are. Like, be happy with who you are first. And so that way, whatever results come from that weight loss, you're content with it either way.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think like getting too obsessed with how other people look and trying to emulate that, it's a fool's errand, or whatever the saying is. But it's like you're wasting your time. Like, you can obviously improve how you look and improve your physique and improve that. But it's like, if you are looking at someone else and your view of success is how similar you can look to them, like, that is just a silly thing to stress about. It is putting so much of your happiness on something that you truly can't control. Like, you just can't.
Exactly.
And so I would not stress too much about that. So the last question that I had for you was I know that you are a personal trainer. I know that you work with clients and stuff. And so, like, what recommendations would you give to someone that is maybe looking to maybe hire a personal trainer or just like looking to have someone help them at the gym? Like, what like attributes would you say that they should look for when working with a personal trainer, or if someone kind of, because a lot of times I know this happens to other people at the gym, but when I was bigger and I was at the gym, personal trainers would always come up to me and be like, hey, like they'd try and talk to me and try. It doesn't happen anymore, but they used to do it all the time. So what would you, what should someone look for when maybe hiring a PT?
So first look to see if they're going to listen to you. A lot of them kind of, chances are they're going to try to give you a free session, and try to, just to sell you, just to get you into a package or whatever. But see if they listen to you. See if they listen to your goals. I mean, if their goal is to just kind of throw you into a workout and they're just putting you through the mill, and they're not like actually listening, like to you say, I don't like this movement, or this hurts, or this doesn't feel right, and they're just telling you to push, that's a huge red flag right there. Because unfortunately,
they're not
a lot of trainers
like cheerleader. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to just be your cheerleader. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. They're supposed to be guiding you and teaching you, and that's a huge thing. So I don't want to say like it's easy to be a personal trainer, but when you get a personal training certification, it's a very catch-all. Like it's so much and it doesn't really teach you specifically too much about exercise. So you kind of have to go out your way to learn it. So a lot of personal trainers end up relying on their personal experience and what works for them. So if you find that they're just giving you workouts that just work for them, or just one kind of style of working out, and they're not like teaching you the movements and setting you up to be sustainable on your own, then that's a red flag. The personal trainer's goal should be to set you free at some point. It should be to set you up so that way about what moves to do, what style works for you, so that way when it comes time for the journey to end with you, you can move on with your journey. But I think that's probably a huge thing. And also seeing if there's a structure. So if their goal is just to break you every workout and there doesn't seem to be a structure to it, like there's no consistent movement, there's no periodization, there's no like progressing, like, you ask them, how do I tell if I'm getting stronger? How do I tell if I'm getting better? And they don't really have an answer. That's a huge one too, because I think there's this huge thing where people feel like, well, if I get beat up and I'm just sweating by the end of the session, it must have been a good one, and that's not always the case. No.
Yeah, especially if you're a beginner. Like I would say, like if I was, I wouldn't probably have a personal trainer, but like if I was working with someone and they gave me a workout and I was like, I just want to die, that's a little bit different than if someone is like new into the gym, they don't know what their body is capable of, and their trainer is just giving them workouts to make them feel like they're dying. Like that's not going to help the person, right? It should be, like you said, I think the main goal of a trainer, especially working with a new client, and this is coming from someone that's not, right? But like if you're working with a new client, it should be, how can I teach this person as much as possible so they are at some point sustainable on their own? And I think that would be different for everyone, how long that might take. That could take a month for some person, say maybe they're relatively fit and they're just not used to the gym, right? That might be a month. And it might be 6 months for another person, maybe even a year for someone that's, coming from like bare nothing. I don't know. But you really should. And like, I think another thing would be like, if you ask them a question and the answers they're giving you are very like nonchalant, or they're not really like listening to the questions you're giving them, then that's a huge red flag too. Like they should be wanting to teach you as much as possible.
Yes. I always describe it as like as a collaboration. Like that's how it should be. It shouldn't be a dictatorship where they just tell you what to do. It should be a collaboration where you feel like, wow, what I said actually went into the regimen that they gave me. Like they're listening to me. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on and wanting to talk. Is there anything else that you want to talk about or that you want to say?
No, I really enjoy being on Discord. Like if you guys are on there, you see me on there and you got information to share, I'm always learning too from you guys. I really appreciate it. So I like that you let me get on there and learn from other people. I like it. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for starting that community, John. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, man. So before we leave, I was thinking it'd be cool to take maybe some questions like live. Are you cool with doing that? Do you have some time?
Oh, Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right. So if anyone in the chat, if you guys want to ask either of us a question, we can answer. We'll do this for a little bit, and then I'll let you go. But everyone is saying thank you. By the way, they're all very
Oh,
very pumped. So
cool.
and Josh is in here singing your praises. So
Oh yeah, Josh. Yeah, he's my client. He's awesome,
Mhm.
man. He's fun to train. He is so
um
motivated. I love motivated. Like, having motivated clients motivate me to go to the gym.
oh
So
yeah,
I love it.
100%.
Yeah.
Someone asked, are you planning on ever creating a YouTube channel?
No, I have not planned on that. Maybe when I get a man bun like you, I'll probably consider it. But no,
those
not anytime soon.
those are the that's the prerequisite, you know what I'm saying? Like Zach said, he's not gonna make
Yeah.
any more YouTube videos until he
No,
has
I'm still
a
getting hip to social
man bun.
media. Like I
Yeah.
started my Instagram, so
Mm-hmm. So, this is an interesting. I'm not sure if you know this answer, but it says on a bioimpedance scale, does silicone count as fat or lean mass? I have no idea.
dude, I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's an interesting question. I'm sure that's probably something you could probably Google. Like, I'm not trying to sound like douchey, but like I'm sure Google probably has that answer.
I'm actually gonna write that down so I could find out.
Yeah. Hey, James is here. He said, just checking again because you touched on it a bit. Is it normal to see around 10 to 15 pounds fluctuation in one day? It depends on the person. But I would say, like, it would be, James, if you're asking for yourself, I know you've lost a lot of weight. I wouldn't be super surprised seeing 10 to 15 pounds in one day. Yeah.
Sorry, you're kind of like fading out. I didn't really hear it, so.
Oh, it was just James asked if it's normal to see 10 to 15 pound fluctuation in a day. And I said, I was just saying, like, because I know he's lost quite a bit of weight as well, that it's not it's not uncommon to see that, especially like the 10 pound range. Like, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
I'm not sure if I should ask this one because it's coming from Captain Helmet, but we'll give him a shot. So he says, question, I've got major shoulder mobility issues and doctor visits are expensive. At what point should I consider seeing a doc instead of just stretching and hoping?
Ooh, okay. Hold on, I'm just reading it just because you kind of faded out a little bit there too. I think so. A lot of all right. If you, of course, I'm gonna say you should see a physical therapist. Because any advice you get online, that's just kind of a shot in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of shoulder mobility issue, a lot of shoulder issues kind of come from having a weak upper back. So maybe kind of look at that too. So strengthening your upper traps and your rhomboids, because a lot of people end up having shoulder issues when they have that rounded shoulder. Like when they have that bad posture. And then when they end up trying to do certain exercises that pull them out of that range of motion, like, that's why a lot of times the barbell squat position hurts people so much, just because they lack that mobility. So I think trying to maybe look at strengthening your rear delts and your upper back to help pull you back a little bit more and create a little bit more stability in your shoulder, that could be something that you can try. And then if it still isn't corrected, then it would be, I wouldn't say go to a doctor, go to a physical therapist to address that, because doctors aren't really too well versed in like the physical stuff like that. So
it's hard, man. It's just hard. Captain said that's literally the exact issue I'm dealing with to a T. Thank you. So there you go. But it's hard.
Okay.
Like everyone that you talk to, whether you talk to a physical therapist or you talk to like a chiropractor or you talk to a doctor or you talk, like, they're all going to give you different answers. And so it can be like frustrating, but that's when it comes down to you being your best advocate and being like, okay,
yes,
I'll hear what that person says and maybe I'll try it out. Maybe I'll be like, I don't believe that. It's hard. Like there's no, especially I struggle with this too, is people ask me, I want to lose this much weight. What should I do? And it's like, I can't just give you an answer. Like, I need a lot more information before I can be like, do this, especially. Okay, this is a good question. So, hey, gents, really cool of you to live stream for us. What's your opinion on intermittent fasting or just straight up long water fasting sessions 1 week plus? Did you hear me that time?
Yeah. I got it. Okay. And I'm looking at it too now. So I'm not a fan of water fasting, just because I feel like water is pretty important to have, and I don't really see much benefit in not having the water. Maybe you might lose a little bit of like the water weight if you're trying to cut for a certain reason. I think intermittent fasting is really good if you're trying to lose weight, just because I know there's a lot of people who kind of advocate for like the hormonal stuff and like, what it could do to your body. But I think just in terms of helping you restrict calories, it can be good. Now, if you have some issues with binging or restricting, it's probably not the best option for you, because then it's just going to turn into a structured way of binging, where all you're doing is planning out your binge and calling it an eating window.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of depends on your capacity to do it, but I think intermittent fasting is good for restricting calories. I think as time goes on, though, it's important to start to still track your calories. Don't depend on intermittent fasting, because you can hit a plateau where you're like, well, I'm losing weight. And then, once you hit maintenance mode, then you're like, well, why am I not losing weight? Because you kind of have to start counting calories.
Yeah, I think so with water fasting, so that's actually going to be you're actually just drinking water, and usually with like electrolytes. So that's like dry fasting is no water. I personally, I got it confused with dry fasting. Yeah, I feel much stronger about dry fasting. Like that stuff's freaking crazy. But I think that I think that water fasting, I've seen people do it successfully. There was a guy that I made a video on years or maybe over a year ago now. He was called the Fasting Fat Man or something, the Incredible Fasting Fat Man. He lost like a lot of weight just doing water fasting. But I think that it can be useful, but I think it's a really thin edge that you walk on, to where it can be helpful, but it also can be very disordered, and it can lead to some really bad things in the long run. But I feel the same way about intermittent fasting, but it's a much bigger, like you're not on such a thin edge. Like you have much more room. I think that for a lot of people, intermittent fasting, just as far as time is concerned, it's more helpful. Like you don't feel like you have to eat 3 times a day, or maybe you do eat 3 times a day, but it's in an 8-hour window. Some people do OMAD, which again, like I agree with everything you said. It can be dangerous if you have some disordered eating patterns that are coming to play, and then you're realizing all I'm looking forward to is eating, and that's it. That's all I focus on. Then it could be a bad thing. But I personally don't think intermittent fasting is a bad thing if it is in a if you're doing it in a healthy way. But yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so this is a question from Cloudy Tears. For someone who can't do a sit-up whatsoever because the body doesn't seem to want to go up, I feel you on that. What can we do to have the same effect as a sit-up, but if we find it difficult?
So I would look at what is your reason for wanting to do the sit-up. Like, I guess, if your goal is just to do a sit-up, then that's different. But if you're looking for some kind of benefit from it, I don't know. It kind of depends on why you're doing it. Like if you're looking to strengthen your abs, there's probably other more beneficial ways to do it, because usually when people do sit-ups, hip flexors kick in a lot more than their abs do. So if anything, you're better off maybe doing like traditional crunches, or maybe doing something that's going to hit your overall core if you're looking for core benefit, like doing planks or doing like choppers and stuff. But yeah, I'll be interested to know why you're interested in doing like sit-ups specifically.
Yeah, I personally think like planking, or even like leg lifts, just lay on the ground and lift your legs up, like the choppers, like all of that stuff is going to be usually, I would say it's probably more beneficial than sit-ups, because of how like people don't think of it, but like it's still mind muscle connection. If you're not using your abs when you're doing a sit-up and you're using your hip flexors, you're honestly making things, I don't want to say you're making things worse, but it's like now you're making your hip flexors really tight as well. And so it's just like, there are many other things you could do that require a lot less of that mind muscle connection that will end up hitting your core or your abs or whatever you want to call it, than just like a traditional sit-up. Okay, so next one is, how do you start learning full body push-ups? I cannot get back up when I attempt them.
Oh, okay. So you can start with, there's a whole different ways you can do it. You can start with just kind of doing incline sit-ups. So incline push-ups. So, doing them on a chair, and just trying to get lower from there. You can start doing modified push-up on your knees. That's one way to do it. One technique that I do with some of my clients, usually like with sometimes a female client struggle a lot more with the push-ups. I would do kind of what I call like advanced modified push-ups. And that's when they get into a regular push-up position. So they're on their hands and feet. They control the eccentric. So they go down really slow, as slow as they can. Then they drop to their knees and they push up. So what that does is it helps them control, because I think a lot of people focus on just kind of dropping and bouncing. It helps them control the eccentric and get comfortable in that bottom position. So I think a lot of people just aren't comfortable down there and learning how to use torque to push themselves back up. So I think controlling it, dropping to your knees and then pushing up, that's a good drill to do. So that's one tip. I mean, tip among many, I guess.
Yeah, with push-ups and a lot of body weight stuff, I think like a big part of it too is like just losing weight. Like that will help, right? Like with push-ups, and then especially with pull-ups, like, oh my gosh, man, like just losing an extra 10,
pull-ups
15
are different.
Pounds, like can make or break you. But like but with push-ups, I mean, there are so many different modifications, but like understand that if you are on a weight loss journey, the more weight you lose, the easier they will end up becoming, because you'll be pushing up less weight. Not saying, I mean, I would say 100% work on them when you're at a bigger weight, because that's only more basically weight that you're trying to move, so therefore it's going to be more challenging. So when you do lose the weight, they might be easier, right? So I 100% agree. This is like kind of a different question, but this is interesting. Do personal trainers have a confidentiality agreement they have to abide by aside from general professionalism?
So not really. I think it's just a courtesy. They don't, like, I haven't seen any kind of, like, I know that even when I do like my training or like research, they don't really talk about it. So unfortunately, no. That's one of my, I guess this is like my kind of gripe too. That's kind of one of my gripes with like personal training and like kind of the fitness industry in general. There seems to be like a lack of professionalism. I just think it kind of is turning into a bit of a circus. And I think, it could be too, like maybe just because certification just doesn't require like higher education. So there's a lot of like young people coming straight out of school. And they don't know how to manage their own business, so they're just kind of doing things on the fly. So that could be a big part of it too. But no, like unfortunately, there isn't. Not that I've heard of.
It looks like in the chat we have Matthew Frazier, 5 times CrossFit Game champion. He's in the chat. He said, "Welcome, Matt." But someone asked, this is a good question, but I understand this is a loaded one, so I know that before I ask it. But how can I fix balance issues with squats? I, for the life of me, cannot keep my feet planted. And then he went on to say, I should also mention a knee injury from my past. So I kind of want to just give my 2 cents on this. So for me, I would say that it's probably not balance that you're struggling with. It's probably mobility. Okay. And when it comes to squatting, a lot of people, they see so many people do it, so they think it should be easy. This is coming from someone that has worked out for 6 years consistently now. My squat is still very bad. My regular air squat. So, and that's because I have a lack of mobility in my ankles, and I have other things like cartilage and I have issues in my ankles that make it very difficult. But a lot of people have their mobility in a lot of his ankles and your hips. A lot of people struggle with mobility in those 2 areas, and that is probably why when you say you can't keep your feet down, it's probably what you're saying is your heels are lifting off of the ground, and that's probably because of probably a mix of those 2. So I mean, this is a loaded one because there are so many things that you can do to improve that, but also how you improve it is dependent on what is actually the problem. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense, but
no, that makes a lot of sense. That's huge. So when it comes to the squat, like I love the squat. Like I when I first was learning how to do the big 3, like powerlifting, I got a coach and everything just because I wanted to learn how to do it the right way, and I actually hurt myself. So like I'm kind of obsessed with teaching people how to do squat the right way. And you touched on it perfectly. Usually keeping the feet flat is that mobility issue. And the same thing, it took a lot for me to break into that. Like breaking your body into a proper squat position takes time. It just takes time. It takes repetition. You can do all the mobility work and everything you want, but it just takes a lot of practice. I had the same issue with keeping my feet flat. I tried to baby it by getting squat shoes. that just elevate the heel. But I mean, again, it didn't fix anything. It didn't fix the issue. It just kind of hit it, which made things worse. So I think just like you said, it's a mobility issue. And a lot of people, again, when they have a sedentary lifestyle, they're sitting on the desk for so long, like everything is tightened up. Yeah, you have to kind of stretch yourself out of that. It takes time.
A big reason why I am always standing when I'm doing my lives is because I don't want to be sitting for hours on end. Like, it's like for me, like, and then some people are asking how do I work on it, but it's this, like, I don't mean to sound like a jerk, but I would just look up videos, online, ankle mobility exercise, and try that out. Yeah. And then the big thing about trying out mobility exercises is test. So test before, and there's different tests that you can look up. Test before you do the exercise, do it, and then test again. And if it improved your mobility, then that is something that you could probably do every time before you squat or whatever, right? Do it every day.
Yep.
But there are literally like hundreds of different exercises you could do for your hips and for your ankles that will improve it. So I would just look that stuff up. But that's a good question.
I think a huge one too
No, you go.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, one thing that's overlooked for squats too is bracing. So look for that too, how to brace your legs. A lot of people don't know about bracing. So not just bracing your core, but bracing your legs. Just kind of look into that too. That's like massively overlooked. But yeah.
Okay, so this will be the last one because I don't want to keep you forever. So is it true that the stomach is the last to go in regards to weight loss? If so, is there any way to reverse that or tackle the fat dead on? So like spot reduce. 50 pounds down so far, but the stomach shrinks slower at the moment. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, for most people, I'm not going to say everyone, but for most people, that is like the last place that, that's the place where we gain weight first and kind of the hardest to lose. Like me personally, I know you saw my picture, but that was like very hard because I can gain vascularity everywhere else and be lean, but stomach is like the last place to go. And there are people who are the opposite too. There are people who that is the first place they lose, and they're just kind of thick everywhere else. But no, unfortunately, there's not a way to like spot reduce. Like if your goal is to really like get your stomach down and see abs or anything, the amount of sacrifice you got to do varies from person to person. Some people can really get their stomach down with a higher level of body fat than others, and some people need to get really low in order to see anything at all. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, that just comes down to person.
Yeah. So this one is like one of the most asked questions, I would say, that is like about spot reducing. So I want to lose my love handles. I want to lose this. And it really is just, you have to stay in a deficit and continue to lose fat overall. Because your body, you can't tell your body, like you don't burn fat. Like a lot of people say that, but you're not working out and burning the fat away or like turning fat into muscle. So if I do crunches, then I'm going to burn the fat away from my stomach. It just doesn't work like that. No. As long as you are in a caloric deficit, then you will lose fat and your body will decide where it loses fat. You don't have much influence. Like there might be a tiny bit, like I've seen some studies that like show there might be, but it's like to a point where it's really not worth stressing over. And just focus on being in that deficit. And that's kind of like the best way to go about it. Spot reducing is just not worth your time. And if someone is trying to sell you on something, whatever sort of product it is, they're just trying to take your money. And don't waste money on like wraps or whatever, creams. Yeah. Don't waste your money on it.
Another sign of a bad trainer too, if they promise you that.
100%.
Run away from that. Run away.
100%. All right, dude. Well, thank you so much. Again, I know the mods have been posting your links and stuff, but again, I think the easiest way to get a hold of him is probably on the Discord, I would say. I feel like you're in there all the time. And then obviously your Instagram as well. I know that those two are what you use. So if you guys want to hit him up, Discord or Instagram, the links will be in the chat if you're trying to reach him. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
All right. See you later, dude.
All right, later.
Peace. All right. That was fun. What'd you guys think? Did you guys have a good time? This was really good. All right. Great. I'm going to go to the bathroom and fill up my water, and then we're going to react to a good video. So stick around, okay? I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, I should have put the music on for you guys. My bad. My bad. You missed most of that call. Well, I think I did record it, so we should have it up at some point. So it'll be available for you still. Alrighty. Yeah, I should have. The music was on, but I should have turned it up. You know what I'm saying? I should have had it. I should have had it bumping like this. You know what I'm saying? I should have had it. I should have had it bumping. Should have had it bumping, baby. For a drummer, he has no rhythm. How can you even tell that? You can't freaking tell if I have rhythm from that. Get out of here. Who do I need to bonk on the noggin with my wrench? No, we're being good.
Perfection, which is impossible.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just changed the stream name. All right, so today I wanted to talk about, this is a video that was sent to me like multiple times now. And this is a video from our our friend Greg Doucette. And the title of this video is very interesting to me. So, when dieting harder than last time goes too far. So I'm assuming he's going to talk about, being in a severe deficit. And so let's see what he has to say.
Perfection, which is impossible for everyone, and then suffering because of it. Your life should not suffer because you want to look a certain way.
I agree with that.
Coach Greg, and today we're going to talk about dieting harder than last time. How do you know you dieted too hard? Trust me, so many of you are dieting harder than you should or need be.
I think, okay, so I truly have not seen any of this video at all. I think that I think it's very cool and it's very important that Greg is talking about this, because I know that he has a lot of people that follow him that want to look just like him or want to look like people who are unbelievably lean, okay? For most people, getting that lean is not healthy and can be very detrimental to your overall health, whether that's like physical health or mental health. Like, getting that lean is not for everyone. So I will say just from the start of the video, I think that it's important that he is talking about this.
Your pride is getting in the way. You're an overachiever. You're like, hey, I see that body over there. I'm going to get it because I can outwork anyone. I can out-diet anyone. But sometimes you diet too much. There's only so much the body can handle. How do you know if you literally have gone too far? When enough is enough, but it's not enough. You want the dream physique, the one you've imagined in your mind, and you want to see that body, and you're dieting to get there. But your body is fighting back.
I think a lot of people struggle with feeling like they want things too fast. Like, the thing with Greg is that, I mean, he's been training for, I think, his whole life. And so getting to, like, for him, it's not that difficult. I know he works really hard, but for him, it's not that difficult for him to maintain his physique because of how much muscle he has. But a lot of people might first get into working out, and then right when they first get into working out, they're like, I want to be as super shredded, when it's just not realistic because they don't have much muscle. They're not super versed in training. Like, there are a lot of things that go into that it's like someone watching NASCAR and they just got their driver's license. They're like, oh, I want to compete in NASCAR. It's like, well, it's going to take a lot of practice to get to that level.
You need to know these signs so you don't push too far. Most of the time, it's what I say, imagine your dream physique and only go halfway there. If you try to go all the way there to try to get the perfect physique that doesn't actually exist, a lot of problems are going to happen. Trust you me, 59 bodybuilding shows. You don't think I've experienced these?
59 bodybuilding shows. That is unbelievable. 59 bodybuilding shows. I did one and I was done, okay? Like, that's a lot.
You don't think I've coached clients? I know what's going to happen. You need to be warned. It is not worth it. Not everyone is born to have 5% body fat and a six-pack. It's just not in the cards for everyone. Number one, extreme fatigue. It's not from doing a lot of cardio and from doing too many squats. You're extremely fatigued no matter what you do. You're laying in the bathtub and you need your girlfriend to help you out because you're so tired.
Because you're in such a severe deficit that literally anything is hard.
Not even because you train, it's just you're so tired. You're sitting on the couch and it's way too much work to reach over and grab the remote to change the channel, let alone having to get up. You're hungry, you're sitting on the couch, you don't want to get up to go to the fridge. You are too tired. A bathroom, I can't go to the bathroom, that's 20 feet away. Extreme fatigue. When this happens, you've gone too far. You know you have.
And like, people might think that this is not possible and like, oh, you're over exaggerating. It is 100% possible. So imagine feeling like that, but also working a 40-hour-a-week job or also taking care of children. Like, would you like to be around that person that has to do that? I know I wouldn't.
Your body is not made to suffer like that. You think it's worth living your life with extreme fatigue all the time? I can barely handle it for a bodybuilding contest, and that is only for a brief amount of time. I'm not trying to maintain 4 or 5% year round. If I get too lean, Happens every single time. And trust you me, you're going to feel the same way if you diet too far for too long. Number 2, extreme hunger. Not talking about you're pretty hungry. Not talking about, you want to eat a lot. I'm talking about you could eat every single morsel of every piece of food you can think of. And even when you're full, you're still hungry.
So, I mean, I think a lot of us have had experience with this, right? Extreme hunger. What happens when you're extremely hungry, right? We struggle with binge eating. This is a very normal thing that happens. So even people like Greg, who's unbelievably jacked and looks like he knows everything, like even then, when you are dieting so far that you are eating barely anything, that it's very normal to be unbelievably hungry to where you feel like no matter how much you eat, you're not going to feel full. And of course, when you start to go down that road, then anything you eat isn't enough. And that's why you start binging to a point where it hurts you to eat more because you just want to feel full. It's no longer, I'm just kind of hungry. It's like, I hate feeling like I'm not full. And even with the amount of food you eat to a point where you feel like your stomach is going to explode, it's still not enough. Right? And so if that's happening, of course your progress is going to slow down. This is a very normal thing that a lot of people deal with.
There's no ending your hunger. You are starving. It's like you're being possessed by a demon, making you eat and you can't stop. You are so hungry. Why is this happening? Your body's defense mechanism is saying,
hey, you are starving. We don't want to die, so we're taking over you.
It's like venom. Venom comes into your body, makes you eat.
Are you an idiot? Why aren't you eating? I'm going to now possess your body and force you to eat because I like surviving. I don't want to die.
I like the voice changes. Very nice.
Literally what happened. Well, no, it's not actually literally what's happening. Venom isn't actually taking over your body. It's some form of a demon, but it's not even a demon. It's your subliminal subconscious. It's your subconscious taking over and saying,
we're the brain and we're telling you to eat.
I know a lot of people talk about your sleep paralysis demon. Dude, that binge eating demon, whew. He's a strong one, I'll tell you
People
what.
out there, you're taking your brain for granted. It's keeping you alive. You should thank it. When it makes you extremely hungry, it's so you can survive. Number 3, can't sleep. Insomnia, it sucks. You can't sleep. Why? It wants you to go eat. It doesn't say, just nap. Have a nap for 10 hours. Just sleep in. No, wake up after 3 hours and go hunting for some food because we're ready to die.
Dude, when you're eating so little to a point where you literally don't have enough calories to feel full at night, it sucks trying to go to sleep. Because I like eating before I sleep. I know a lot of people don't like doing that, and they're like, oh, it's bad for you. I like eating right before I go to sleep. So when I was prepping for my show and I couldn't do that, that's rough, and it makes sleeping very tough.
We are starving here. Wake up and go eat. It's not the time to sleep when you're ready to die of starvation. So if you diet too long, too hard, your body is going to disrupt your sleep, keep you awake at night, and force you to go eat. That causes a lot of problems. Cortisol screwed up, ghrelins coming to punch you in the face, and you're just always hungry. You live a miserable life of insomnia. Not a pleasant thing. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. You don't want to suffer like this. You need to eat more. If you diet to this point, you're dieting too hard. Number 4, you're losing muscle. If you're in such a calorie deficit, or if your body fat drops so low that you're losing muscle, is it really worth it? No, of course it's not. You need to have a certain amount of body fat and a certain amount of calories to build muscle.
Well, I mean, yes, I agree. If you're not eating enough calories, a lot of times you're probably not eating enough protein, and you're probably, especially if you're really, really low, you're probably not super motivated to train super hard. Like, you're going to lose muscle when you're in that much of a deficit. But the thing that people don't realize is, like, people that are competing at shows or get really lean, like, you kind of take the good with the bad. You lose fat, and yes, you're going to lose muscle, but you kind of have to lose muscle to get as lean as you want when you are competing. It's just like it just kind of happens.
Y'all know I'm not for bulking. I'm also not for extreme cutting either. I'm for balance, maintain a healthy body fat that's reasonable for you, and everyone's bodies are different based on the set point theory. You need a certain level of body fat so that you have enough energy to train hard in the gym and recover. If you're losing muscle because you're not eating enough, well, obviously you need to eat more. It's not rocket science. Number 5, this one's for the ladies. It's not for the men or the circles, for the women.
All right, here we go. For all the ladies.
If you lose your period. Female athlete triad. What usually happens is a lot of females will lower their calories to lose weight while increasing their calorie expenditure by doing a lot of cardio. You do all this extra activity and you eat less, and the body says, we ain't reproducing right now. This is not a good time. They're clearly out walking in the woods, going for 2 and 3 hour hikes, looking for food, and they're not finding it. Probably not the time to have babies. We should only have babies when we have sufficient energy, nutrition, and food available. The human body doesn't want you to get pregnant when you're starving yourself. So it acts as a defense mechanism, and you don't have your period.
Yep.
Does that not make sense? So if you're losing your period on your diet, you're probably dieting too hard. Now, yes, I understand some professional bodybuilders and so on, you need to diet to that level. You just do. You're just going to have to. It doesn't mean it's healthy. But for the average person, you shouldn't really be losing your period now, should you?
Yeah, I think like that's like Mother Nature's way of being like, hey, I'm not sure if this is the best thing to be doing, you know? Like if you are no longer, you know, having your period, that's a pretty good sign. Like, especially if you are just trying to lose weight, you're not dieting for a show. It's like, okay, well, maybe I should increase my calories or increase my fat or figure something out, because obviously this is damaging my body.
Number 6, you get sick easier. You're sick all the time. Your immune system is compromised. All this is a vicious cycle. You're not eating enough. It's affecting your sleep. You're not recovering as well. You're getting sick more often.
It's almost like, you know, eating is important to a lot of other things that happen in your body.
It's not good. If you're getting sick all the time, you're not eating enough, how is that worth it? Is it really worth getting that dream physique in order to suffer from all these consequences? Pretty sure dream physique is not worth getting sick all the time. When you have the dream physique, you didn't dream you'd be sick in bed with it, now did you? Number 7, what the heck is the point of having your dream physique if you got no sex drive to go with it? So picture this, you and your partner dieting for a show, you're both ready, you both got abs and everything, you both look the best you've ever had in your life, and you don't even have sex, you got no energy. Why would I do that? What's the point? Why get shredded, have the perfect body, if you can't even enjoy it in a bedroom?
I mean, this is so very true.
That sucks. Wouldn't you rather have a little bit more body fat, maybe 5 percentage points higher, add in the 10 pounds of fat, and be healthier, have a normal sex drive, sleep better, not get sick, and have energy all the time? Oh no, why would I want that? I'd rather just look really amazing and be shredded and miserable.
So I want to make it very clear that what he's talking about here isn't going to happen to everyone that is trying to lose weight, right? Like what he is specifically focusing on is people that are getting very, very, very lean, right? That are trying to get as lean as they can to compete for a bodybuilding show, or people that for some reason are just trying to get super lean because they see people on Instagram that are super lean and they want to get that shredded, right? So he's talking about them. Like a lot of this stuff can be related to people that are just trying to lose a massive amount of weight, but some of this stuff isn't going to 100% correlate and be the same for someone that is trying to lose like 100 pounds and just trying to get to a healthy weight, right? So this, I want to make it clear that he's focusing on people getting unbelievably lean, that to a point where it's unhealthy.
Your choice, not mine. Why are you choosing this? I want to look like a super fitness model, shredded all the time because it's so great. What's so great about it? You get more likes. Ooh, 1,000 likes. When I was chubby, I only had 500 likes. Now I have 500 more likes. Yeah, I'm going to diet my whole life to get 500 more likes on my Instagram post. Why? What is the point? Think about what you're actually doing. Why are you doing this? You're going to suffer to that extent for more likes? Isn't having more energy, not starving, and feeling good and having more sex, isn't that more fun than being shredded? Number 8, food allergies. All of a sudden, people all be getting food allergies. Oh, I can't eat eggs anymore. I can't have yogurt. I can't have Greek yogurt. No, now I can't eat nuts anymore. Oh, no, I can't have that. You're dieting so hard, you're cutting out all these food groups. You're doing it for so long that all of a sudden you can't eat them anymore.
Wow, I didn't think he was going to bring this up. This is really interesting. Yeah, this happens. Like for me, he brought up eggs. That happened to me for a long time. I could not eat eggs because of like going on my diet. I was so restrictive on the certain foods that I ate. I didn't really ever eat eggs. And then whenever I would try and eat eggs again, I would feel sick to my stomach to where I felt like I had to go, like throw up. And so, man, that happens to so many people. It happens with people with dairy. It happens with people with eggs. It happens like so many different food groups that you just cut out completely that when you try to add it back in, it's like, you can't have it anymore. Well, you can, but you just feel like trash after eating it.
You grew up your whole life, you were able to eat anything. Now all of a sudden, every second food, I'm intolerant to that. I can't have gluten, can't have this, can't have that, eat that, and shit this out and do that. And oh boy, it sure does suck. I can't eat anything. Have a balanced diet. Eat normal foods. You don't have to do this to yourselves. You're an asshole. Yeah, trust me, people diet and their personalities change. They're hangry. They're actually just angry. You're so hungry and you're so irritable because you just want to eat. So many people think it's the steroids. Oh, it's the PD, probably Anavar made him so aggressive. It's actually way more likely that it is that you're hungry than it's from the PDUs. Not saying PDUs can't change your personality as well, because it can. But trust you me, it is more likely the fact that you're hungry, starving, and you're irritable because of it, and then you treat everyone different. Your patience level's at 10% of what it used to be. The smallest of things can trigger you and piss you off, and you can't deal with it.
Dude, hanger is so real. Like oh man. I'm not fun to be around. I don't get mean. I get very quiet and I'm very snappy. Also, my friend Meg is here. Hey, what's up, Meg? Welcome. Meg Squats, everyone. Say hello. But yeah, being hangry and being on an extreme diet to where you are getting like unbelievably lean, like it is, it's a real thing, man. Like it really can affect a lot. Like getting super lean to a point where you're like trying to compete for shows, man, I feel like that has ruined more relationships than people care to admit. Like it is no joke. Like it is no joke.
Is that worth it? Do you know how many people are breaking up with their boyfriends, girlfriends, circles after dieting or during a diet? They change as a person. They're just not the same human being that you
see. I told you guys.
you like and love. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with trying to diet and better yourself, to look better, to feel better. There is something wrong with chasing a look that's impossible to reach. Perfection, which is impossible for everyone, and then suffering because of it. Your life should not suffer because you want to look a certain way. You should try to look a certain way for you and enjoy it and feel good about it.
Like I like to say this a lot, is weight loss and fitness and all this stuff, these should improve the quality of your life, okay? This should improve the quality of your life. And if that is no longer happening, you should really take a step back and think about, okay, is this worth it now for me to continue this this weight loss? Or am I now impeding the quality of my life? Meg said, once I was prepping for a show and missed my friend's wedding, one of the biggest regrets of my life. It's a trap. Yeah, like and it'll make you make those freaking crazy decisions. Like, why would I do that? What, like, it happens to so many people. Like, so many people go through this.
But not take it to the level where it's ruining your life. For me, 9% I can handle that. I eat the foods from my cookbook. It allows me to feel full. I'm not starving all the time, and I feel good. Every aspect of my life, it feels perfect, okay? If I try to diet further and I say I'd rather be 8% or 7%, I can't do it. I'm a professional bodybuilder with all the knowledge in the world. And I can't do it. I can't be perfection. I can't. I can get to 9%. That's pretty good. It's halfway to my dream. I'd love to be 4 to 5% body fat. You're up. It's too much. I can't do it. I want to do it. I really, really do. I've tried for decades. I can't do it. I can do it for a short period of time, for a couple weeks, for a show, but I can't do it year round. So my advice, go halfway there. Now me, I'm lucky. I have a pretty fast metabolism. If I eat whatever I want, like pickled pizza, start eating like Allie, I'll probably gain 20 pounds of fat and I'll settle there. My body be pretty happy. But not everyone is like me and blessed with a good metabolism. Other people, if they just eat anything they want, they go up to 300 pounds, 400, 500, 600 pounds.
I don't understand why he's decided to personally attack me, but that's fine.
So you have to keep things within reason. You don't want to just go all in and eat all the gummy worms and candies and chocolates of your dream and always eat everything, but you don't want to diet to an extreme level either. It's called balance. Somewhere in the middle is the perfect diet for you. Hope you learned something. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette, I at BB Pro. Blooping up 2 videos. Watch the top one, then the bottom one. And until next time, I am out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great video. And like I said at the start of the video, I think it's important that he's talking about this stuff because I think a lot of people, they see people like Greg or they see really shredded people, especially like on Instagram, and they think that's what I want to get to. That's what I need to be. But a lot of times these people are maybe not happy. They're not like, they're sharing their highlight reel, right? They're not sharing the reality of what it's like to be that lean. But I can't say that I disagree with anything that he said. Well, that was cool that Meg stopped by. I'm not sure if she's still here, but that was really fun. The fact that Greg said he'd love to have less body fat but can't manage it honestly goes to show that everyone has something that they want to change about their bodies. Oh yeah, 100%. My metabolism sucks. Hey. Thank you for constant entertainment, my friend. Well, thanks, Meg. I appreciate it. It was nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. You caught the tail end of the live. We had a good conversation earlier. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate all of you very much. Make sure you go check out the Discord. If you do like the live streams and you want to see more of them, make sure you follow me on Twitch as well. We're live streaming there pretty frequently. Also I want to say again, huge thank you to everyone that has been part of the Discord. We hit partner today, which is really cool. And yeah, I appreciate you guys very much. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, rest of your night, rest of your afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Yeah. Peace. Let's listen to some cool music on the way out. All right.